Hey,
How are you?
peace and blessings, Queen. How you doing?
Peace and blessings, King. How are you?
Hey, hanging in there, hanging in there. Um,
Hey, Kevin Jackson.
yeah, we got Alafia on, my good brother who helps me out at Bonnie Grimes Gym.
Hello, Brother Alafia.
Yep. So I'm gonna do my normal introduction, and but we're gonna jump right into it because I know you're a busy lady, and appreciate you you know getting some time out for us to drop this knowledge. So this is knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave, part two, with our good sister Sherry Washington, who is a professor, educator, and does tutoring, doing a lot of great things for our youth. So I know you're going to drop some atomic bombs for us tonight to help lift.
Just share. No bombs. No bombs. Just share
Yeah,
it.
you know how I do. You know how I do. But as always, in the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all powerful, all wise. We confide in no other in our time of need. We praise no other in our good fortune. He is one. And even if I lived to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. So again, this is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Sharif Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share. You know the motto, so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. So that's what we're doing. We're lifting the mind, body, and soul with our wonderful sister, Sister Vic. Can you introduce yourself, sis, for those who don't know you?
Hey, everybody. My name is Sherry Washington, born and raised in York. Um, I believe in the value of education. I believe liberation is education, and education is liberation. And we get liberated when we help each other get access to that education. So let's go. I see Willie Stanley's on. Hey, Mr. Stanley, my girl Daniela, my cousin Terrence Stalin, Kevin Jackson, Stu Christ. We are happy you guys are all on. What we want though are some questions, right, brother?
Yes, yes.
Sharif?
We want questions to so our youth and the parents can be empowered. And, if they're having any issues in the school system with testing, IEP, 504, as much time as we have. That's what we want. As long, and the information you have, in, the school system, topics. That's what we.
Right. So as we're waiting for questions, I know your voice is going in and out. Is my voice okay?
Nah, yours is fine. You said mine's going in and out.
A little in and out. Yep.
Okay.
All
Not.
right. So the first thing I want to share is if you have a child who has aspirations of going to college,
Mm-hmm.
we need everybody to take that SAT before the 11th grade. I was fortunate enough to teach 1 year at York Country Day, and I learned so much from teaching at that private school. And over there, if their eighth graders took Algebra 1 or geometry, the eighth graders were encouraged to take the SAT as an eighth grade. And then we always encourage our kids to take a SAT in ninth grade
Mm-hmm.
if you had Algebra 1. And then if not, you definitely should have taken the SAT no later than your 11th grade year. This gives you access to different scholarships. It gives you an opportunity to practice and see where you need help at. But as a senior, you should not be stressed out about somebody's SAT. And if you have to be stressed out as a senior, you should only have to take that SAT the first time your senior year. As a senior, by this time in December, you should know where you want to go, what your major is, how much money you need to get there, and start really looking at scholarships. So if you have any nieces, nephew, children who are interested in going to college and have to take the SAT to access that, you also can take the ACT. Get them started now. Get them used to reading. I know Salem Square is starting the reading program for ages, help me out, Brother Sharif, grades up to grades 5
I seen
with Dominic Chapman and them.
I seen the flyer. They tagged me in it. I'm not sure of the ages, but that sounds about right.
So up to age 5, if you're here in York and you are local, and just take your child there. Even if your child's on reading level, just take your child there. Our children have to read. When we enjoy reading, we're building up our reading stamina, just like you're building up your muscles to run a mile. You have to build that up. And some of our children dislike the SAT because they don't like to read. And that's understandable. Some of the topics are boring, but the SAT has changed. And so with this new SAT, I'm gonna give y'all a tip, a free tip. Answer all the questions. There's no points. You don't lose points for answering all the questions. You don't lose points for guessing, but you need to answer all the questions because you get points by how many you answer correctly. The other thing they changed, they got rid of the vocabulary and they replaced the literature articles with articles on science, on history, and literature. So if the different things your teachers have you reading in school, you have to read. Doing that helps you build up your stamina. You're not going to, attack this paragraph with the mindset of, I hate to read. Learn how to enjoy reading. When you learn how to enjoy reading, you learn how to write effectively. And all that matters if it is your desire to continue your education in college or a post-secondary place.
Right.
Did I say a lot?
You certainly did. One thing that has me, ready on this track for my boys is they're in 4th and 5th grade. But I already told them, guess what they're going to be doing in 8th grade. And you said the only requirement for them to take the SAT in 8th grade is that they are enrolled in Algebra 1, right?
I would suggest if your 8th grader is not enrolled in Algebra 1 or higher, I would say wait, because the new SAT consists of a lot of algebra, Algebra 2, and some geometry. And you need that basis in order to even attack that test effectively. Kevin Jackson wrote a comment that said we should have our kids read every single day, right. And he is correct. When I do the SAT prep class and my students will say to me, well, Miss Wash, what should I do every day? And one of the tips you should read at least 15 minutes every day. I don't care if it's something from CNN, if it's a comic book, if it's a newspaper, read something every day for 15 minutes uninterrupted. That does not include reading posts from Facebook. It does not include reading Snapchats or Instagram. It involves reading. Find something to read, anything. And nowadays they can access magazines online. I said this to some of my college students and they laughed at me and said, nah, miss, Instagram has some news articles. I said, okay, then I guess I'm missing it. But whatever, read 15 minutes a day.
Right.
We want some questions out there about school, about help, about how to help our children just break these barriers. What questions are out there? Hi, Soulwork Kelly. Hi, Mr. Perry. Hey, cousin Jamar. Oh, I see a question from Brother Alifia. We need math help. He is correct. And so another math resource, if you have a pencil, I think most people know this one. If not, I'm going to give it to you. Khan Academy, Khan Academy. It is free. They have every course on there except literature, which I'm a little, I like literature, but every other course is on there. And so if you want to get your child ready to take pre-algebra or algebra, you can actually go on Khan Academy as a parent, register your child, enroll your child in a course, or have your child take a diagnostic test for free, and it will tell you what your child needs to work on. Now, the thing I like about Khan Academy is they include 3 to 6 minutes videos showing the students how to solve the problem. And the students can go back and rewind it and practice, and then they give them like a little online quiz to see if they really got it.
And what's that called?
And you can rewind that. And Khan Academy, Khan Academy, Academy.
Okay.
It was actually designed by Bill Gates, and he designed it because he felt like children in urban areas didn't have the same access, equitable access to resources like children in non-urban areas. And since he's done this, those of us who have taken advantage of it have really seen the benefits of this. So a lot of times my students who I tutor will come and say, Miss, she didn't teach me how to do this. Okay. Did you go on Khan Academy and try to teach yourself? Nah, Miss, I forgot. Well, then let's jump on there and look at this together. If you're an adult and you're trying to brush up on your skills because you want to take that entrance exam to work at Harley, Khan Academy is for everybody. There's no age limit. You can start as early as kindergarten, but it's a great resource. The other video is virtual. The other site is Virtual Nerd. Hold on, y'all. My son just walked in. The money's on the table, baby. Bye. Virtual Nerd is a video math site, VIRTUAL. Their videos are a little bit more upbeat, same minutes, same about 3 to 6 minutes, but it's also a great resource. Do we have any questions yet?
I don't see any questions yet.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, don't see any.
Hi, Ruby. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Mr. Kirkland. Okay, all y'all watching, we're glad you're watching, but we need some questions. What questions do you have about how can we leverage our resources or help our kids? Or maybe you have a family member who has some questions about how to help their child at their school. Well, we're giving you a free hour of power. Ask these questions.
Kevin says, in your experience, what are some of the pitfalls all parents should be aware of, and how can they navigate these issues? That's from our brother Kevin Jackson.
I love my brother Kevin Jackson. A5. Okay, Kevin and audience. I think it's along the lines of what courses should your child take as they're going into high school. So a lot of times parents aren't aware what courses their children have been assigned, even though sometimes we're supposed to sign off on them. These are questions parents should ask. So for example, national education standards recommend all 8th graders have Algebra 1. And if that's the case, that means your 7th graders should have pre-algebra. And before your 7th grader can have pre-algebra, your 6th graders need to understand fractions inside out, upside down, and all about. If they're not understanding fractions or decimals, that's going to impede their progress as they go towards learning pre-algebra or Algebra 1. In 9th grade, so if you have Algebra 1 in 8th grade, 9th grade, you should have Algebra 2 or geometry. I'm just going to put this here. There's no reason a senior should have Algebra 1 as a senior. There's no reason a senior should have Algebra 2 as a senior. Parents, if your child's behind on their math courses, they can double up. And some parents have doubled up. You can have your child take a math course at HAC here on York campus or wherever you are. You can have your child take a math course at Penn State York. They give high school students a discount. But your child should not be a senior and just taking Algebra 2 or Algebra 1. That's putting your child behind.
Sis, but I see this all the time. Even when I was in North Carolina, they're barely at Algebra 1 in senior and junior year. So this almost sounds like a national epidemic then.
It's not just local, it is national. But it's to answer Kevin's question, these are some of the pitfalls the things we don't know. And sometimes we're afraid in our culture to ask questions about what we don't know. And so what I love about your show and the movement that's happening in York is that we're getting rid of these barriers to inquire. What do I need to know? How do I get help? What's going on? So those are some of the pitfalls that I would encourage parents ask questions. You have yourself, you have Tanya, you have the movement here in York. Shoot a question to somebody. If you're stuck, ask a question. So for example, recently I saw a parent, I think the child went to West York. Her child got suspended for something. And I'm not here to debate why they got suspended or didn't get suspended, but the child had 3 days out of school suspension. When the child came back to school, they tried to give the child 5 days lunch detention. The child already served their time. That's double jeopardy. You can't do that. And so what happened was, once I told the parent what her rights were and how to access them, now the parents empowered with knowledge to go in and ask these questions of the administration. So I would say, parents, if you have questions or concerns, or you're just not sure, reach out to any educator, reach out to your family members, just reach out. We're here to help you get those answers. Again, my goal is that we leverage resources so that everybody has equitable access to resources.
Right. Now,
any other questions coming up?
Hi,
Jake Tribb, Mr. Powell, Cousin Tasha. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Janae. Come on, guys, you're online. We need some questions. What burning questions do you have?
Right. And what about if children are behind? What are the teachers' responsibility with that? If children are behind in, let's say, language arts or a math class, does the teacher have any responsibility to get them help, or are they just there to teach?
I've only been fortunate enough to work with some great teachers. A lot of my friends who are here teaching in York City and in Central and Northeastern, they are dedicated and they are there for a reason. Our teachers are aware. Nowadays, we're teaching our teachers how to use data to determine how a child's performing. But not just are the teachers using data, but your kids are coming home with benchmark information. And what that means with these benchmark tests, in York City, it's called MAPS, M-A-P-S. At York Academy, it's called MAPS. They're coming home with these assessments, and these assessments will tell you what grade level your child's on for reading and what grade level your child's on for math. And if you see that your child's behind, it is the teacher's responsibility, but as a parent, we should advocate for our child and say, okay, they're behind, so what can I do? What resources can you give me to help my child get caught up?
Sister Sherry, Sister Janae Green had a question. She probably just came on because you already addressed that, but she said what math should be taken going into the senior year. You had already.
Hey, Janae. Okay, so 9th grade, 8th grade should be Algebra 1. 9th grade should be either Algebra 1 or geometry if they didn't have it in 8th grade. Sophomore year, let me put it like this. It's Algebra 1, geometry, Algebra 2. Sometimes they'll reverse Algebra 2 and geometry. By your senior year, it should be trigonometry, calc, pre-calc, statistics. It shouldn't be Algebra 2, and it definitely shouldn't be Algebra 1.
It's okay. It's okay, Janae. We're here for you. Did that answer your question, Queen? Because it's a good question. You probably had just came on and she was just talking about that, so it's no problem. But I think
no problem at all. And Janae, congratulations to your daughter. I saw you were, and here's the thing Janae did, and I hope I don't embarrass her. As parents during the summer, we always try to find things for our kids to do. If your child's a senior, there are so many free camps at local colleges, and colleges abound, where children can go take a course in their major. It's like a 2-week course. And once the child does well, if the college like what they saw, the college will sometimes make an offer for a scholarship. So I know, kudos to Janae Green. I was watching your daughter. She's representing York, and I think she was at Penn State. And we're just wishing her the best. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, Brother Watkins has a question, right?
He was saying, do you think homeschooling is the best for Black children?
Oh, that's a loaded question. So yes, if you have the resources. Right. A lot of my friends from Maryland homeschool their kids, but you have to have the resources and the time. There are a lot of parents, African-American parents here in York, whose children attend cyber charter school. And cyber charter school is similar to homeschooling, except that school district sends them the computer and uploads the computer with their courses and their curriculum. It is rigorous. They do a lot of work. I tutor privately for 2 cyber charter schools. And again, but if you're going to do homeschool or cyber charter school as a parent, you need that adult in the home to supervise and to ensure that the child's doing what they're doing. Now, I know some parents can't do that, and we have our good sister Serena. She's not on the call, but she homeschools her children, and she does so out of the Salem Square. What is that?
So Championship
What is it?
Community
Communities?
Center.
What? Championship Academy. So that's going to be a resource to parents who are homeschooling their kids. Serena will be over there with her children and giving out. They're to offer resources and collaboration.
All right. And hey, Salam, bro. I just wanted to reiterate what you were saying earlier, because it may sound like some kind of new teaching or something, what you were saying about the years that our children should be taking these classes when we broke down the algebra and all that. And I think I had mentioned to you before, I was listening to my good brother, Minister Farrakhan, and he was saying how it is seriously something wrong with the education system. Because he said when I was in school 55 years ago in Boston, he said we were in 9th and 10th grade taking trigonometry, calculus, the whole nine. And he said that was 55 years ago in Boston. So what you're saying about the breakdown in the years of when we should be taking these classes, which I'm gonna definitely make sure my boys is on that, even though they're only in 4th and 5th grade, that's really becomes normal to me. To break down.
It is, but that's
it is.
That's where, and go back
away from it. Almost like what Kevin was saying. If he was saying that was 55 years ago, he was doing that. What?
Here's how we got away from it. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
We got away from it because some of our parents didn't know. We have to, as a people, we have to get out of our bad habits and stop being afraid to admit, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know everything, but I will go out and seek an answer. And it's okay. Because when you don't ask these questions, your child ends up taking the brunt end of what's happening. And so how this happens is if you're not aware what courses your kids are being assigned, then you're going to get to the senior year and realize they don't have what they need to get into college. So for example, in addition to the math, right, you need 4 years of English. In addition to that, most colleges are asking for at least 2 years of a world language, French, Spanish, Latin, Japanese, Chinese, 2 years. Those are just some of the things we have to be aware of and make sure that we're doing Latin, what we need to
French, do. That's another part of Minister Farrakhan's speech. He was saying he had Latin, French, trigonometry, calculus, the whole nine, 55 years ago in Boston. So you're definitely giving us, the blueprint. What about should a parent be reluctant to get their child an IEP, and what is the benefits or the drawbacks of it?
Oh, that's a loaded question. You went there. Okay. Before we go there, we talked about math and English, but I would be remiss if I didn't shout out the sciences. Everyone likes to talk. I love my country, but everyone likes to tout like we're the best. We're not. We're behind. We're behind because educationally our country's behind. We're behind because we don't encourage our kids to explore science, coding, STEM. It's a key word, but science, technology, education, and math. The next couple of careers coming out in the next 20 years are all about technology. And if our kids don't have access to technology now, and you could teach yourself coding on Khan Academy, then they're going to be behind the 8 ball. And so it's the holidays for a lot of us, and we're out here buying sneakers, and I'm not throwing shade to anybody. We're out here buying different things, materialistic things. I'm gonna need folks to make sure there's a computer in the house. I'm gonna need folks to make sure there's internet. Because even if your child's teacher's not teaching what they need to know, Khan Academy is free. There are no more excuses why you cannot get what you need.
Right. Can you give that website again? And then anyone out there listening, can y'all type it across the screen for us so everyone can get it?
The what and to answer Angelo, you are correct. The school districts in certain areas do offer these classes. That's not what I'm saying. School districts are offering these classes. What I'm saying is our children are not getting assigned some of these classes. And I'm not speaking hypothetically or anything I read. I'm speaking off of helping a few people in this town right now who are trying to graduate and access opportunities, but they had somebody assign them a course called conceptual math. That's not a real math course. That's a math course that says you don't know what you need to know, so we're going to put you in this math course so you get a math credit. But in all actuality, if you want to go off and go to college, you don't have what you need, so you're going to have to go to community college, although you were here in our school for 4 or 5 years.
Right.
As parents, we have to act, approach the counselor. What courses does my child have?
Mm-hmm.
What courses can they take next year? If this is my goal for my child to have this by 12th grade, what do we need to do leading up to that process? So I wanted to just make sure that Angelo understood I am in agreement with you, but I'm just saying as parents, we need to ask and just follow up. What courses are my child? What courses have you assigned my child for? What was the other question? Shun, by experience and skills. Hi, Annie. Hi, Sorwar. Hi, Angel. Hi, Sorwar. Hi, Kathy. Hey, Mercedes. Hey, Amos.
Yeah, I don't know if the sister had a question. I just
okay.
But yeah, my motto always is a problem isn't a problem unless someone makes it a problem. So if no one is asking these questions and they're just, letting their child almost navigate their own way through it, then, they.
Janae Green, You're right. Janae Green, you're right. If your child gets free or reduced lunch, you can get 1 gig of Wi-Fi for $9.99 a month. If you don't want Comcast, you can also get it from AT&T. 1 gig, $9.99 a month. There are some other sites, Brother Sharif, that I will drop into your on your page later on.
Okay.
There are so many sites out there now that are offering internet for $27 a month, internet for $40 a month. It's if we can get our nails done. Again, no shade. If we can get our nails done, and we can get our hair done, and we can buy all these other things, we can make sacrifices to pay $42 a month for some internet so our child can get on the computer and teach themselves or either get ahead.
Yes, no, this is the hour of power. We unapologetically.
Thank you, Janine, for typing that in.
We unapologetically lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. So you don't got to be reluctant. It is what it is. Our people need this, and we are doing some things that are self-destructive, and it's not leading our children into the future. It is what it is. Sister Janine put it out there.
I am loving this. I'm loving this energy on this.
Academy.org. That's the website that you've been referring to, right?
That's the website. Thank you, Janine.
Thank you, Sister Janine.
That's my sister
posting that. So now when I hit replay on this, people can see that. That is a awesome site. I'm gonna get my boys connected to it. Now you talked about
awesome. And it's free.
Right. But you talked about the internet. Now to my knowledge, like I'm a mobile therapist. So even though I'm not in the school for education, I'm more there for, mental problems, self-esteem, behavior problems. The children in York City don't get sent home with iPads, right? So they're manually getting, because I see it, they get this packet sent home. So what would be the urgency for them to need the internet as compared, like my children are in Central School District?
The need, okay, it's a good question. The need for even though our children in York City are not allowed to take home computers like our kids at York Academy or Central or Dallastown or Northeastern, the need for internet in the home and the need for technology in the home, I'm saying it one more time. Sometimes the classes are overcrowded. Sometimes the teacher is going to have difficulty teaching, not because they don't have class management skills, but because the class is overcrowded and you have a few folks in the class who don't value education. And so we can complain about it, or we can say, like our ancestors have, I'm gonna take control of this situation and teach myself by having a computer at home, by having access to the internet. You're taking ownership for ensuring your child is getting access to equitable curriculum and an education. I don't wait for anybody to teach my kids. I'm going to teach them. So when they get into school, if they're struggling, they can come home and say to me, and I'm going to reteach you. And I teach their friends. And we have to get back to our culture, our whole culture. I believe Dr. Monet talked about it last night, where we got to help each other. It's the village. I was fortunate to grow up. I'm a CA kid. Mr. Woodyard was my teacher. Brother Claire Sexton, who passed, was my teacher. Mr. Crenshaw was there at the CA helping us. Mr. Kirkland was our teacher. Miss Martino. They taught us the importance of giving back, and that when you get somewhere, you reach back and you bring somebody with you. Mm-hmm. And that it's not right that if I have all this knowledge and I don't share, no. We have to do that. And so I love the conversations. Janine wrote the Y Achievers program. My Silver Nicole Gaines runs a heck of a program. 9th grade to 12th grade. They just stopped taking kids this year, but next year it's free. She gives out free access to college tours. They have to do fundraisers. She brings in speakers to teach our children how to fill out a financial aid. They go on local college tours, out of the state college tours. They work on how to write an essay, how to write a college resume, how to apply for college. You got the Y Achievers. You have QUAP, which is part of the YWCA. And QUAP is ran by Mike Smith and Mike Baskerville. And that's ran out of York High. And that's for high school students also. I'm not going to sit here and act like we don't have our struggles in our school district. It is what it is. But are we going to keep complaining, or are we going to take the bull by the horn and teach our own?
That's right. That's right.
I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. And you have the you're doing tutoring there, and Dominic is already working on the reading to achieve. I think Mr. Kirkland is involved with that, with the Championship Community Center. We have the young brothers and sisters at Vonnie Grimes gym, and we're going to be connecting with the Championship Community Center, so we all need to work together. Angelo said male students are kinetic, and they get bored in a setting that they have to sit and be talked to instead of hands-on. So kinetic.
He is 100% accurate. Mm-hmm. I love being in the classroom, and even when I teach at Hack, my students laugh because I'll tell them, stand up, get up, move around. We're doing this together. Find a partner. We're going to talk about this. That's just good classroom management. And it is our young male children, they are kinesthetic. Then they have to move around. And when they're moving, that's how they're thinking. I think it's important that I try to teach students that I work with, this is your learning style. So embrace it. And when you're studying or you're not getting something, this is how you advocate for yourself and explain to the teacher what you need in order to learn the lesson. Mm-hmm. I think you guys touched on it before, and you guys do a great job of this at the Vonnie Grimes gym, where you teach our students how to use words to communicate what they need. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
And how to advocate for how to get it. That's what we need to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you asked a question earlier, and I do want to get back to it. You talked about the IEP and the 504 plan.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So give me your question again. I forgot.
Before we get on that, I wanted to back up what you were saying and what I think what Brother Angelo was saying about our learning style, because we are in a European style education, just sitting in that desk all day for 6 to 8 hours. It's not our style. In Africa, a day of learning was out in nature, picking fresh fruit from the tree, clearing your mind. Then the next day you could go at it hard, with the books. That was a learning style in Africa that we've been totally removed.
Well, we do have some of that here in York. At Lincoln Charter School, Annie Clark has the Hope. I hope I'm saying this right. Garden. The Hope Lab Garden, where our kids are hands-on and they're touching the earth.
Right.
And they're understanding the importance of organic herb and how that connects to what they're learning. That hands-on lab has been essential with some of our young men. Angelo talked about down in North Carolina how the students are able to take college classes so that when they graduate, they have 2 years of college. I'm glad you brought that up, Angelo. I'm loving the dialogue. Brother Sharif, we're gonna have to do a meeting when he comes up here so we can just vibe.
So the five.
Okay, so parents in York City, you have a child who's bright, who's motivated, and even if your child's not in York City, your children starting in 10th grade can take college classes, do enrollment at HAC. One more time. Your children can start taking college classes at HAC. They tell you 11th grade, but if your 10th grader took an SAT and scored high, they can start taking classes at HAC as a 10th grader. No. York City School District, here's where I shout them out. Those students get to take HAC classes for free. For free.
Now, what's the score to be able to take those college courses in 10th grade? Like, is there a cutoff? Or?
You should have at least above a 500 in math and reading. Okay. They prefer 600.
That's not asking a whole lot, right?
It's not. It's not. And even if you don't have it, wait till your junior year. You can start taking it as your junior year. Again, if you go to York City, just ask the counselor. Those classes are free. The school district sets aside money in their Title I funds to pay for those classes for our students. If you're not at one of those schools and you still want your child to take that course, the cost is only $300 for 3 credits. So here's the math, right, Sharif? I have it. My daughter's a junior, and she started taking classes at HAC in 10th grade. She wants to pursue her education at a university in Philadelphia that is just a crazy cost. Now, she is going after scholarships, but her goal is to have at least an associate's degree by the time she has her college degree, so that instead of us paying for 4 years at St. Joseph University, we're going to only pay for 2 because we got the first 2 years for free. Your first 2 years of college are your general undergrad credits. Right. So even if your child can't get that associate's degree, at least let them take 4 classes at HAC, 3 classes at HAC. So here's what happens, right? When you're getting financial aid from Pennsylvania, freshmen only get a certain percentage. There's a cutoff, right? But if you have more than a certain amount of credits, which puts you as a second semester freshman or possibly a first semester sophomore, your access to financial aid increases. And so as a freshman, I may only get $9,000 in grants. But if I have a sophomore status, I'm now getting $15,000 in grants. And then it goes up as you become a junior and a senior. It's just a good way to save money and get a head start.
Brother Angelo said his niece is 20 years old and she'll be graduating with a bachelor's degree from Fayetteville State. And Sister Janae said her son had issue with sitting still in class. The first day way of thinking was helping, recommending him to be put on meds. I refused, and they came up with ways to help him. He has a desk where he can stand up. They have rubber bands under his desk where he can play with them. And if he gets antsy with his feet, he gets up to sit on a medicine ball in the library. That has helped him tremendously.
Yep.
And now, Sister Janae,
that's called accommodations.
Yeah.
So that's what we were talking about earlier, Brother Sharif. Those are called accommodations. And so if you hear someone saying to you, hey, your child doesn't focus, X, Y, and Z, if your child does have ADHD, they don't always need medicine. If your child has diabetes, if your child has asthma and takes a couple of medications with steroids in it, and the steroids exasperates their energy, you have the right to request what's called a 504 plan. A 504 plan is different from an IEP. The school doesn't get money for a 504 plan. So 9 times out of 10, they don't want to do this 504 plan. But your 504 plan guarantees accommodations for your child. So all the accommodations Sister Janine wrote in this post are what you could get in a 504 plan. That ensures that your child has access to equitable curriculum that balances with their learning style, and they can still thrive and not just survive.
Right. And those are some of the things I work on. That was Sister Janae Green that sent that message. Those are some of the things I work with me being a mobile therapist and a behavior specialist, trying to help children, that may need some extra help, motivation, or encouragement to get through and learn. So if you ever, want our services, you can contact me offline, and I have authorization to go to any school in York. It don't have to be York. It could be York, Dallastown, Northeastern, anywhere in the county I can go. So if your son needs a little extra assistance, just get with me, sis, if you're interested, and I'll be glad to try to help him if he needs it. If he's okay, then he's okay. But I'm glad you made the difference between the 504 and the IEP. Okay, what about an IEP?
An IEP, and IEPs are regulated by the federal government. Each state has different requirements of how a child qualifies for an IEP. Pennsylvania was cited for having too many minority children with IEPs. So schools are very reluctant to put any children on IEP unless they meet these standards. And so you have to perform significantly lower than your grade level and your achievement ability. Our children are given an intelligence test, which could be a false read, to determine whether or not they qualify. Here's the bottom line. If your child has an IQ that borders 70 or lower, you might want to get a second opinion. An IEP is not always a negative thing if it's needed. If it's needed, it guarantees that your child should be receiving what they need in order to grow. Sometimes some schools do misuse it. In the past, most of our African-American males have been placed in these classes. But again, because of recent sanctions, because of some things President Obama put in place, a lot of that is being audited by the federal government. And schools are very reluctant to put any children on IEP. But how could an IEP help? So let me give you an example. I was working with a parent. Her daughter, I think, is in 4th grade now. Her daughter had failed 2nd grade because she couldn't read. She wasn't on the reading level. She held her daughter back because she didn't feel, the following year, she held her daughter back because she didn't feel her daughter was growing. Now, her daughter had an IEP that clearly stated she should have had books on audio. She should have had technology to help her with her writing. She should have had access to a reading specialist who could help her improve her reading level. For 3 years, Brother Sharif, this school did nothing with that IEP. For 3 years, that child is still on the same reading level. Finally, the mom said, well, what can I do? In Pennsylvania, you can file a complaint by just calling a phone number.
With
the mom called
excuse me, sis.
The mom called.
With an IEP, isn't that supposed to be revisited every 90 days?
You're supposed to, but they weren't doing it.
Okay.
Mom was going to the meetings. Mom was taking me to the meetings, but the school wasn't doing what they needed to do. And the IEP is your way to hold the school accountable, to make sure your child's growing and progressing. So the mom finally called the state, and the state called the school. Don't you know the next day they gave the mom everything she was asking for the past 3 years?
Right.
But without that IEP, her daughter would have still been way behind. So IEPs have some negative connotations with them, but they also have some advantages. And it comes down to, if your child needs it, let's lose the labels, let's lose the stereotype, and get what your child needs so your child can become self-sufficient after high school.
But isn't it also correct, sis, that you don't have to wait on the school to get you assessed for IEP? You can get an outside opinion or get assessed outside of the school, right?
You can, but I would recommend, if you have a concern, that you send a note to the school. The school has 60 days to respond, and get your child tested. Now, if you don't agree with what the school says, then you can tell the school during that meeting you don't agree and request outside evaluation. And you can request the school to pay for it. You don't have to pay for it out your insurance, but you can always say, I want an outside evaluation.
Right. So so either way with the IEP, so with the IEP, because it, like you said, it's really been attached to a lot of Black children, because that's mostly who I work with. If they have an IQ that is bordering 70, or if they're behind in reading and math, is that the starting point or the indicator that you needed outside?
No,
You said no?
no, it's not. So the IQ is, right? And usually you won't get an IQ test until you see there's an issue. What the starting point is, again, is your children are coming home with these benchmark tests. If your children aren't coming home with these benchmark assessments results, call the school counselor and say, may I please have a copy of my child's benchmark results? It will show you what your child's reading level is and math level. Now, the IEP in Pennsylvania says you have to be significantly lower than your achievement and your IQ. There's a grade thing. So that really means, are you 4 or 3 years? If I'm in 8th grade, am I, put like this, because I'm going to give realistic examples. If I'm a senior, why am I still reading on a 3rd grade level? Somebody didn't do what they needed to do, right? And so with that in mind, the parent has the right to access the IEP rights at the same time, but that's a touchy one for me, Sharif. There's no reason why a senior or a child should not be growing. And at that point, that's when the parent says, hey, what interventions do you have for my child? Can you place my child with the reading specialist? Can you give my child assistance with this teacher who can help them organize their writing? Ask the school, what assistance can you give me to make sure my child is growing and learning?
And sis, when you...
They may give you the runaround. They might give you the runaround, but you got to ask those questions. And I always recommend send the email first. Here's a keyword, document, document, document. Send those emails. Keep copies of them emails, because they're going to come back and try and tell you, well, you never asked. Yes, I did. Here are the receipts.
Right.
Now follow up.
And when you talk about the benchmark tests in North Carolina, a lot of tests were EOGs or BOGs. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about the state?
Those are your state standardized tests. When I talk about benchmark tests, here they're called MAPs. They're just like a test that's given every 6 months just to see, are you growing? So if my child enters school on a 9th grade reading level, by December, their reading level should be 9.5.
Right.
If it regressed, Houston, we got a problem. What happened?
Okay, so they will get these bench tests at least, or they should at least twice a year.
At least twice a year. Yep.
And it should be some progress. If there isn't progress along with their quote unquote IQ, then that could possibly start the process or the need or necessity for IEP.
I think not necessarily. The IEP is that's your last option, right? Your first recourse is, okay, so I got this benchmark test. My child's not on level. What are y'all going to do? How can y'all help me? How can I help you help my child grow? What needs to happen? That's the first conversation, because now you're letting them know I'm part of this partnership and I'm holding you accountable as I'm holding myself accountable, but my child is not going to still be behind. What can we do to make sure he's growing and he's thriving in your class? And it might be a situation of the school needs to diversify their staff and get more minority teachers. It might be a situation where the school needs to evaluate, is there a concern, and look at their data of how are they contributing to the school to prison pipeline? Are they disciplining minority children more than non-minority children? These are questions that you start with. The question you start with is, how can you help me help my child demonstrate success in your class.
Right.
Then after not, if you don't get any answers and you request, you can request screening and testing. Then after the testing is done, where you talk about, we need a 504 plan or IEP. But that's always the last recourse. We have this thing called multiple tiers of intervention. So there are certain interventions that should be happening before you resort to an IEP. All schools, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, I consult throughout the United States, all schools should be implementing multiple tiers of intervention.
What?
It used to be called RTI, but now it's called multiple tiers of intervention. We should not have to wait until a child needs an IEP before we ask for an intervention.
My question with that, and that's great information, if the school has to pay for the IEP and, supply resources, why would they be so fast to use that as the first intervention instead of the interventions that you said if they have to pay for it? And we know money makes the world go around.
Well, the schools aren't paying for the IEP. If a child gets an IEP, that money comes from the federal government.
Oh.
And so, yeah. And so the federal government, based on the state and how the money's divvied up, determines what amount a child gets who has an IEP per year. So let me put it out there like this. In some districts, Pennsylvania might give the school $15,000 a year for kids who don't have IEPs, right? And for a child who has an IEP, that school's getting $35,000 a year. And that's so that the child has access to their resources. School districts are adhering to the multiple tiers of interventions because of the lawsuits that came about for having too many minority male children in special ed classrooms. So that's why a lot of schools are not pushing that anymore. A lot of schools are reluctant to say, I'm going to give your child an IEP. I know I participated in a meeting recently within the past 2 months with 2 different parents at 2 different school districts whose kids' results said they needed something, but the schools were like, nope, we're not giving an IEP. We'll try something else because they don't want to be fined by the federal government.
Right. Sister O'Shawn said, is there any data available for the success of students who receive IEPs? Is there any?
Yeah, there is. There's data out there. West EED is a national education website. You can find a plethora of research data nationwide. I can also give you names of several people I know who share their story. The best one I share often is Dr. Andre Bundy from Baltimore City School District. That's where I started teaching. He tells the story how in school he had an IEP and everyone said he would never be anything. He went on and got his degree. He went on and got his PhD from Penn State. Now he's one of the lead administrators down for Baltimore City School District. An IEP doesn't define you. It doesn't limit you. It is supposed to give you support so that you can catch up and be on the right grade level. So saying that, I want to share this other thing too, Brother Sharif. If you're an adult and your reading level is low, there's a resource here in our community that many of us don't take advantage of. And it's called the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, OVR.
Can someone
OVR.
Can someone post that for us like Sister Janine did earlier? Can you repeat that? Because that's very important.
OVR is right out there off of Kingston Boulevard. And you call and you make an appointment.
OVR.
If you have OVR, O Victory Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. If you have a reading disability, if your reading level is low, if you have a math challenge, if you have a mental health issue, if you have a mental health impairment on the spectrum, autistic, Down syndrome, and you just want to get up with your reading level. If you just got out of jail and you're trying to get on your feet, OVR has grant money to pay for you to go to a tutor and get tutored.
And they have
They'll
to
give
pay
you
for
money.
it.
If you're trying to get your CDL license, OVR, and you let's say you just got out of jail and you're trying to get your life together and you want your CDL license, OVR will help you get money to go take that class.
Thank you, sisters. Thank you, Sister Juanita, Sister Janine, Sister Daniela. Man, y'all I'm gonna get a little off topic here, man. Y'all sisters are awesome. Brothers, this is a little off topic, brothers. I mean, it's up to you. This ain't no racist talk, but there is nothing better than a black woman. Look at this. Brothers, where are you? And I did that talk the other night. Look at all this support. Look at our queen here. It is nothing. I don't want to hear no talk about she gets on my nerves and they're impossible to deal with. Look, we got Sister Janae, Sister Juanita, Sister Janine, Sister O'Shawn. Look, where are the brothers? Where are you? I ain't like, man, y'all are great. Y'all are awesome. There's nothing like you.
I love my girl. I love my sister
Like you.
friends. Daniela.
Yeah.
Janae had a great, shared something great. If y'all not catching it, OVR will also give you a free bus pass if you don't drive. OVR is the best kept secret in your county. We don't know about it. We don't access it. We got to go get
You
that.
said even if you have a mental health challenge.
Oh, it was designed for folks who have mental health challenges. It was really designed for that. I first learned about OVR when I was a principal at Crispus Attucks Youthville Charter School.
Mm-hmm.
And when our students were getting ready to graduate, OVR, if they had an IEP, OVR would come in and say, how can we help you transition into adulthood?
Mm-hmm.
And they would sit down with them and teach them a budget. They would sit down with them. If they needed help because they didn't have a job or they were a little impaired, they would prep them for how to do an interview. They would help them, teach them how to look for apartments. OVR is there for us, but we don't take advantage of it.
All right, well, we're going to get it out there. And yes, Brother Angelo, you one of the few brothers on here contributing to this great conversation. But I mean, overwhelmingly, our sisters are awesome. It's nothing like y'all, and to salute to the black woman holding it down. Wow, this has been a lot. I wasn't expecting all this. We're definitely going to have to get together now. It's like we're going to need a part 3, you know what I mean? But we definitely want to keep, working together and building. And I want to talk to you offline. I have something I want to propose to you. Just saw Sister Sherry and her mom duties at York Academy. That's Sister Juanita. I told a guy about it when he got out of jail and he got his CDL, and now he owns his own company. Wow, that was Sister Janae and Sister Juanita sharing their experience with the OVR. I never heard of it until you had mentioned it in our first talk. So we definitely have to get that out. Brothers, always talk about the struggles, that they have, getting out of prison sometimes, but that's a great start,
But that's an awesome start, but I really got to shout out somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Brother Delane Simpson has this group called Bro to Go,
mm-hmm.
and it's designed and empowered to help young people who are re-entering into the world coming from prison or jail, right?
Mm-hmm.
He also works with Governor Wolf. So if you saw recently, Governor Wolf was behind that whole initiative for the Senate to lessen this whole jail thing, to redesign this prison reform, to reform our prison situation, on how many of our people go and the maximum sentence. That was Governor Wolf. Here in Pennsylvania, a lot of us don't know. He just put something in place that after so many years, you don't have to pay anymore to have that stuff deleted from your record.
You talk now. Is that connected with expungement?
No, it's different from expungement. Governor Wolf is working with Delane Simpson from Bro to Go to really restructure how we stop sending our Black men, our Latino men to jail for minor things.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And so Bro to Go helps you with housing, a job, resources, connects you with counseling, everything you need, right? Outside of a halfway house to thrive. And it's not just for men, it's for women. We also have a chapter here in York. Sister Sita was online earlier. Sita, here, hold on. Yes, Miss Sita Walker. She is the in charge of the York chapter for Bro to Go. And so if you have any questions, she would be a great person, her and Delane, to bring on. Delane's from York, but he's doing the daggone thing up in Harrisburg, and we needed so many resources here in York. We basically begged him to start a chapter here in York, and Sita runs that chapter.
Okay, yeah, we definitely would like to connect with them, and we're doing one of our themes for the Hour of Power in 2019, God willing. Each month is going to have a theme, and one of the months I have to check with Alicia is education. So I would, if you can make that connect, I would definitely like to bring them on.
She's on here watching, Sita. You better reach out to Brother Sharif.
Hey, I don't bite. I'm here to help our people. I know some people be like, man, he could talk some rough stuff and all that. That's just my style. But at the foundation of whatever I speak is the truth, and it's designed to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. And no one has called me.
And Brother Delane, Brother Delane was on here also. Simpson, who's the CEO of the company, he was on here also.
Yeah, I think I did see him earlier, but I know some people are busy or with their family. One great thing about Facebook Live, you can always put it on replay. So yeah, right.
Sister Janae Green is dropping jewels. She says, we at Rabbit have been working with jobs to get transportation so people can get to work, because getting out of jail, they sometimes can't drive. So they now have a work shuttle that gets folks to FedEx and ES3. If you don't know about FedEx and ES3, if you're looking for employment, I believe their starting salaries is above $20 an hour. And so a lot of times we couldn't take those jobs because we didn't have transportation. But that's another resource that's out there. People are saying thank you. No, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for being vested. This knowledge, we're not hoarding this knowledge. We're not keeping this knowledge to us. We want to share this knowledge so you can go out and share with other people. One way we take back our community is by having the knowledge that Brother Sharif talks about. So I always say liberation is education and education is liberation. If you want to be free, you got to go get that education, but you also got to help liberate others. You can't just keep it to yourself.
Right. Definitely. All right, sis. We up. I think we hit our little hour. It's more of an hour.
Wow.
I mean, we definitely gonna have to do this again with the Hour Power that comes on Wednesdays. For those who don't know, we come on every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Streaming live on Facebook and on Channel 16 Local Access TV if you're right here in PA. So tune into that. But going into 2019, if God sees fit to have me keep going, we're going to have a month of education, and we have two sides of the studio, and we have a round table where we could use, which is on the other side that you were on. So maybe we can bring you on in that and bring other people on that have these resources like Sister Sita and Brother Delane and others.
Of course.
Just get it.
I'm always here. Mm-hmm. I'm always here to give back, brother. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. We were given these gifts by the Creator so that we can share them with everyone. That's what we do. That's who we are. And I will always be here to help and share knowledge and information. I'm going to share my page, Scholar Prep and Tutoring, on your page later tomorrow. I do want to shout out one more resource. Is that okay?
Sure.
My cousin, Danisha Dallin,
mm-hmm.
She did get married. I forget her married name. She'll forgive me later. But she recently started her own business, which is scholarships, helping young people, anybody who wants to go to school, find scholarships. And how she started her business, she has a daughter, and her daughter is in college now. But because they worked this process, her daughter was able to get more than what she needed to go to college, so much to the point where her daughter is getting a check every month because her scholarships exceeded what she needed.
Mm.
And so I said, well, hey, you ever thought about sharing this information with everybody? And she started her own business. She's from home. She's from here, but she and I will be collaborating so that if folks are saying they want to go to school, there's no excuse. We're going to help you find this free money so that you can get any training you want without going into debt.
All right.
Because it makes no sense to go into debt for 180,000, but you're not making that, or you're not in a career where you can make that. We're going to show you if you want to pursue a post-secondary education. We're going to talk about what courses you need, how you can start brushing up on your skill set, how you apply. We're just going to connect all the resources together. I look forward to the education seminar, bringing this team together and just having a great time sharing knowledge.
All right, and Sister Daniela, she provided the link for the OVR, so that's on there. Sister Juanita recognized Danisha Dowling, and Sister Janine said great information, and Sister Janae thanked us for, this is what the Hour of Power does. You know, it ain't about me, it's about lifting the mind, body, and soul of our people. It ain't just a catchy phrase. We're literally trying to do it, and I can't do it by myself. No way. So I was learning, you know, as we're going along. But the main thing I got out of this is starting early with our youth and getting them on that path of taking the right courses at the right time. So as they go through high school, taking that SAT early, getting those algebra classes in and taking the right classes and not waiting until 11th and 12th
And
grade.
reading.
And read, read every day, read every day as much as possible. So those are the main things. And again, I want to talk to you offline if you have a couple minutes, sis, but thank you for this. We're going to keep.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you everybody for tuning in. This was fun. I'm so happy we are ready to take us back.
And,
all right, y'all. Have a good night.
We had Dr. Monet on, so we're going to do the Black History thing, but we got work to do. So thank you so much for this.
Yeah, we got something for y'all. Oh, you're welcome. Have a good night. I'll call you in a minute, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yep, bye-bye.